missing a few.
I'm ready.
I'm going to delay it for a few minutes, see if these two
Okay.
folks show up. Are you here? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Planning Commission meeting of Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 to order. And our secretary, may we have the roll call?
Chairman Cattouli,
Here.
Commissioner Bellamy, he's not here. Commissioner Goszewski,
Present.
Commissioner Horton, Commissioner Oler,
Here.
Commissioner Prince,
Here.
Commissioner Wise.
Present.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have any communications?
Not
communicate.
today.
Okay. I will need a motion to approve minutes of February 17 and March 3.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 17, 2026 and March 3, 2026.
Second.
First and second, any discussion on these? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved? Nays? None. Okay. Ayes have it. Okay, we have a consent item.
Yes, sir. Item 5A, final subdivision plat SUB 2555, a major final bonded plat of subdivision creating 48 residential lots, open space, and public right-of-way in Phase 3 of Sea Chase Point. You guys saw this at a meeting in November. There was an issue with business licensing, so it's back to you. But we talked about it this morning at workshop.
No change.
No changes.
Any discussion by the commission? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move that the Planning Commission approve the major bonded final plat subdivision sub -25-55 prepared for Phase 3 of Sea Chase Point.
Second that.
Any further discussion? Any discussion from the public? None. Okay. Call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, new business.
Item 6A is sketch plan SUB 2556. This is a sketch plan creating 19 residential lots, common area, and private right-of-way located along the east side of Main Street between Cedar Avenue and First Avenue North. This is related to item 6B, which we will go over next, but we talked about it this morning at workshop, and you have an updated plat that shows the areas of the tree protection zone accurately, as well as there are 2 trees, existing trees in that right-of-way that are slated to be removed.
feel comfortable with the, protected areas that we discussed this morning, but they weren't identified. Did they meet the standards?
I think that showing all the trees to be removed, because they have that common area in the back, that protects many of the trees. And then the other common area near the mail kiosk protects many of the trees. The only trees that I guess I have concern about are the trees. There's one inside that building setback on lot 8. And then this 20-inch tree here adjacent to the sidewalk. Now, I think there's a way to do that like we did at the Bahama Island and like that bank on the corner where they use just a gravel in that spot so it provides less compaction and protects the tree. I think that would be a way to save that tree. And if you felt comfortable moving it forward, this one in the preliminary, we can make sure that detail was in the construction set. There's really no other way to connect First Avenue North to Cedar without getting those 2 trees there. So
Is that a pine tree?
There's a few pines into that. Those don't look like, I don't think they
one
identified
is
the
a pine
pines.
tree.
So I went out there and looked, and if we're talking about the 2 that are in lot 8,
There's one in the there's 2 in the building footprint on lot 8. One is 18 inches and one is 10 inches. There's a 14-inch or 2 14-inch trees. It looks like one is a pine there as well outside of this building setback area.
You know, everything over here drains to that pond, but now if we develop this, it won't drain like that. I didn't see.
right now there's more of a gully area where the mail kiosk is, or a natural slope, so that things will drain, and it follows, I mean, it doesn't follow the property line. It goes pretty much straight across where your mouse is.
I think those are contour lines there. You can kind of see them.
Mm.
I guess my question kind of is once you develop those overlooking the pond area, you cut off the natural drainage of the property. Then is it maintained, is the front row of lots maintained on the street, or is it pushed to Main Street for drainage? Is there a drainage plan?
Based off of what I saw, if you put a pipe under the extension of Cedar or First Avenue South, you could still drain it, but I'm no expert.
We had engineering review the drainage plans, and they concurred with our design. We have exfiltration pipe in the ground with rock around it, and we also have it behind the bulkhead to take the storm drainage.
Okay.
So we're not taking any water to Main Street. We're helping Main Street. You have a pipe that's stubbed out, a 24-inch, and engineering asked us to connect that pipe and take it into the lake through the bulkhead, and that's what we're doing. So we've gone over all these comments with engineering.
Okay.
On the detailed plans. Any more questions on drainage?
That was it.
The one tree that Suzanne was talking about on lot number 9, what kind of tree is that?
There's a tree chart to the right, and I'd have to look at that tree chart.
Yeah.
How to work your screen.
It's so small. An oak tree. Is that the one that split?
There's an oak tree on lot 9 on the front, but whenever you receive house plans during the building process, they would have to ask to cut that tree. We're not cutting that tree for development. We're putting tree protection around it.
Oh,
The only
okay.
way they could cut it would be to come before the zoning administrator and ask for, right, Suzanne? That's the way it works. Not anymore?
It has to be protected.
Okay. Well,
So is that the split tree or is that
There
another
is
tree?
one oak tree out there that veers off into a Y shape, but one of the trunks is split, but it's still alive. I don't know how healthy the tree would be. So I'm not sure if we're asking to protect this tree when it's really not.
the
Huh.
20-inch tree is okay. It's on the setback. That's the tree you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we even need to ask for protection because whenever we went out there today and looked at it, it looked like it was split in the, down the middle.
Okay.
It's still alive right now, but I don't know if it's going to be an issue later on. So I don't want to protect something or make you guys protect something that really you don't need to protect because it's already,
Okay, I see your point. Would Ben make the call on this later as a zoning administrator? And you could put it in the motion that if he feels like we need to take this tree down, we will,
okay.
whatever he requests.
I just don't want to ask for something above and beyond when it may or may not be needed.
I have not been out there in several weeks, so I don't know what it looks like
Okay.
today. I don't remember seeing it split. That's been a long time. And I did not survey it. The
Okay.
surveyor did. Then we have two small trees on the property line between 8 and 9. Any more questions?
On lot number 7 and where the mail kiosk is, there are 3 large oaks and 2 large pines. What are we protecting?
We're protecting those 3 trees.
Okay? Or
That's
the-
just a mail kiosk area.
Okay, there's, in that area, there are 3 large oaks and 2 large pines.
Pines. Four trees there I see on here.
Okay, what,
2, 3.
when we were out there this afternoon, or this morning after the workshop, I can tell you what we counted.
I couldn't hear you.
I can tell you what we counted. We physically, what 4 of us were out there
So how many
looking
did
at
you
the
count?
site. There's 3 large oaks and 2 large pines. Are all of those 5 trees going to be saved?
Yes.
Well, I think one is outside of the area that it looks like they're looking to remove a 16-inch based off of, I didn't see because it's so small on the right, one oak that's a little bit outside and it's within lot 7. If if that's what you're counting as 5.
Where mail
We're
mail
removing that tree.
kiosk in 7 is, there's 5 large trees. You have 3 circles there.
We're removing one tree on lot 7.
Okay, and that would be the pine, a pine,
No, that one is an
or that
oak.
is a oak.
That's a little, that's 16-inch. Can you pan back over? No. Okay. That's in the house footprint. These lots are small.
Well, I understand that, and the trees are large.
The houses are being custom designed.
And we're trying to save trees.
Right.
So you can see where our question is.
I understand.
Would this, I know we had talked before, would this be an opportunity to use one of the rules where you could slide the house over slightly and do less of a property line on one side to save that one tree? Because, I mean, it's not very far at all when you look at the picture compared to, this makes it seem like that 16-inch tree is really far away from the others, but it's not. Is that something that to accommodate the tree?
Not sure about the Board of Zoning Appeals and how that enters into this. Suzanne would have to.
But you remember how we were talking about in certain communities, you move it over slightly and change the setback to make it.
I don't know if that's an opportunity here because these lots are so tight, 3,600 square feet. You know, showing the tree as just this little tiny symbol on the page makes it seem like if you just save that, but the whole area around it is compacted. The roots are going to be pretty disturbed. Our ordinance requires the tree fencing you see around the others. So in those places, the trees would be protected per our ordinance as much as we can require them to be protected. You can see there's very little overlap there. Like this tree here, the 16-inch tree, I mean, it's growing well under the existing building. So, I mean, they can kind of survive that way and if they grow that way to begin with. But this tree with just the 28 feet wide in the front of that house of a house, I mean, I don't think there's probably a lot of room to save it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's not a BZA tree. It doesn't meet the threshold for BZA removal. This is, I guess, the developer asking to remove this 3 trees to move forward with this plan. Yeah.
And it seems like all 3 trees are within the footprint of, or the roadway.
Yeah. And I mean, they are putting common area in there to save like the 34-inch tree that you see there and those other trees. And then they have the mail kiosk located. So 4 out of 5 of those trees are saved. There's not a lot of other trees on the site. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we ask for additional trees to be planted to make up for that tree?
Yes, you have street trees. You can ask for additional trees to be planted. It would be required with the removal. I think they'd have to plant back 8 inches with a 16-inch tree removal. So, yeah.
So that's already required.
That would be dealt with at the building permit time when they did remove that tree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, so the sketch plan process it doesn't give them any vested rights. The preliminary plot does, and then the building permits do. But this is kind of, we initially held these on the same agenda because we were told there were no trees on the site, so we thought it would be best just to move them forward simultaneously. But there are some trees here, so.
For the most part, there's not.
There's not, for the most part.
Just in that one spot.
Yeah.
Any further discussions? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this.
We're gonna do public.
Public. I'm sorry, you're right. I'm jumping ahead. Any comments from the public?
Chairman, real quick, before, for the record, I would just want to put on that Mr. Horton came in at 5:07 for this discussion and for the vote for this item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie?
In that case, Mr. Chairman, I move the planning commission approve the sketch plan subdivision 25-56 as submitted.
Second.
Further discussion? All right, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
So we're going to be looking at the preliminary plat for the cottages on Main Street. So this is item 6B, SUB 2557. This plat will be creating 19 residential lots, a common area, and a private right-of-way. This is located along the east side of Main Street between Cedar Avenue and First Avenue North. This will be accessed by First Avenue North and Cedar Avenue. The total area of the subdivision is 2.80 acres. Subject property is one lot of record, zoned business commercial, and is currently unused and vacant. On top of the 19 residential lots, this plat will be creating 3 common area lots and a private right-of-way. The smallest lot is 3,258 square feet. The largest lot is 4,178 square feet. The subdivision density is 6.79 dwelling units per acre. All setbacks conform to the standards of the business commercial district. And this plat will be continuing First Avenue North, which is an existing 50-foot wide public right-of-way. And this will be transitioning to a 25-foot wide private right-of-way. And this roadway will be designed to city standards, including sidewalks and street trees. As for staff review, Public Works is still reviewing the construction drawings, but otherwise there's no other staff comments.
Have any discussion from the commissioners?
Commissioner, I only have one thing to add. I just noticed it now. The largest lot is actually 4572. I think he said 4178. This way we just get the record right. That's lot number 10.
Okay.
$45.72. That's lot number 10, where lot number 19 was the 4178. This way the record's just right.
Do we have any further discussion? Corrections, comments? Anyone from the public have anything to say about this submission? No, I'll entertain a motion.
I guess,
move-
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I move that the planning commission approve the major preliminary plat of subdivision sub-25-57 prepared for cottages on Main as submitted.
Second.
First and second, any further discussion? Anyone from the public? One last chance. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item 6C is a major PDD amendment to the towers on the Grove. I just get to my paper. We discussed it this morning in workshop. This is basically taking the area that was previously identified as South Tower 1B Future on North Ocean Boulevard and revising that to be allowed it to be used as a temporary paid parking lot. There's no vertical construction associated with this. And any other additional changes would come back to Planning Commission and City Council as a major amendment. This would go to City Council on May 4th with your recommendation.
Will it be paved?
It will not be paved. There will be a paved asphalt apron entering the driveway, but the rest will be of dust-free surface.
Any discussion by the commissioners on this?
We need more parking.
Always.
Mr. Chairman, I move planning, we need public comment, don't we?
Yeah, you can have her. That's true. Do we have any comments from the public on this submission? Nope. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the planning commission recommend approval of the major plan development district amendment to the Towers on the Grove PDD Z26-4 as submitted.
Second.
Any final discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item 6D is a major PDD amendment to the Hope Point PDD to replace a previously approved townhomes along Sanctuary Way, shown in this area here, with a detached cottage-style home. You have the elevations and floor plan in your packet. We discussed this morning. The driveways meet the previously approved driveway. But the previous townhomes had garages, and now we require a 24-foot driveway, and these are 22, I believe, or 21 feet long, but they do have a 24-foot area to pull up, so that does give them a little bit more accessible area around the parking. At this morning's workshop, y'all discussed the plans, and the developer has provided you with an additional landscaping to show the proposal, and then a rendering of the landscaping, kind of at installation, I imagine. There's a typical unit that's a more interior unit, and on the other side, there's a typical high visibility unit that's on the ends.
So just to be clear, the roadside where the driveway is that actually the back of the house?
I do understand that now that that is the back of the house. This morning, I thought that was the front of the house, but I was corrected. That is the back of the house. So that picture that you see is from the parking area side of the home. And then, as Suzanne said, the two different plans, the interior ones, have units on each side, so there's not much on the side but lawn. And then what they're calling high visibility are the ones you see the entire length of the unit from the roadway. So that's got the additional landscape treatment on it.
Sanctuary Way is a private right-of-way.
It is not a right-of-way, it is a private driveway. So this is all an in-common development and cannot be deeded fee simple.
Understood. Okay. You want to have any comments, questions about this?
And the maintenance of the landscaping will be taken care of? The maintenance of the landscaping?
Yeah, the way these are typically laid out, as an example, the parking areas would be a limited common for each unit, and then everything outside the box of the home would be maintained in common.
I'm assuming that would restrict someone from doing private planning. It would only be,
Yeah, the idea is that it's all maintained with a common theme and a common quality, so you don't have a hodgepodge, as we would say.
So one wouldn't
wise.
do,
Wise.
wouldn't have mulch and then river rock and bricks or
Right,
whatever.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, it's awful close if you,
No pine straw, right?
No pine straw, though. That's right.
Chep, one more question. So on the map that's in front of us, we see the whole bottom row is the Reese. You see the whole top row is Henry, yet in our packet, we have a Tate, we have an Ellis. The Reese, the Henry, are they gonna, or is that just as an example?
I think this plan is not a final plan. Those elevations they submitted would all be available. So assuming that you have the buyer that chooses one of those other plans, the only qualification, as we talked about this morning, is there are no detached garages that go with these units. And those are shown on some of the elevations, but that's not part of the request.
And these are the final elevations.
They are. If they added any additional elevations, it would have to come back to you for approval.
Gotcha.
Have any further discussion or questions? Anyone from the public have anything to say about this request? No? Call for a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the Major Plan Development District Amendment to Hope Point PDD Z-26-6 as submitted.
Second.
Last chance for final comments. Anyone from the public? Okay, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item 6E is a minor PDD amendment to the Parkway Group PDD at the Waterside neighborhood to expand the previously approved monument sign package. This was a previously approved entrance sign, and they're looking for some additional signage at the water access as well as a clubhouse sign as shown on this rendering. All of the architectural elements are very similar to the previously approved sign with similar materials and the detailing, the craftsman bungalow aesthetic for the look. And staff has no comments, and this one ends with you. So if you approve it, it doesn't go to city council.
Any questions or discussions? Anyone from the public have anything to say about this request? Okay, I'll call for a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission approve the minor planned development district amendment to the Parkway Group PDD Z-26-7 as submitted.
Second.
Last chance for comments. Last chance for public comments. And call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, now we get to the fun part. Item 6F is a land development regulations text amendment, STX 26-1, to clarify site-specific development plan requirements and applicability. The current site-specific development plan regulations in our LDRs outline the process for review and the required elements. However, they don't clearly identify when site-specific development plan review is required. Over time, staff has developed a system. It's just not listed anywhere for anyone outside of the community to know. Especially as our, as we have more development here and larger houses being built and all the pressures that we see as a tourist community and residential community, we felt like that the lack of detail in our ordinance has created some ambiguity to applicants and the public. So we are looking to have explicit code to refer to point people to. So I know we talked about it this morning, specifically the sleeping area issue. So how I did provide you with some revised text that talks about how the sleeping areas are defined. And I did that in this chapter in the LDRs instead of the zoning ordinance because, and we'll talk about that later a little, but this is really where we need to get it in the site-specific development plan, like what needs to go to to site plan. So we're kind of striking that section and we're of 20-6, and we're adding applicability. The following development activities shall be subject to site-specific development plan review. And again, just to reiterate, this is already our process. It's just not codified. So number 1, new non-residential and institutional development, including commercial, office, civic, industrial, and mixed-use development. Number 2, new multifamily residential development, including apartments, condominiums, townhomes, and other attached residential structures containing more than 2 dwelling units. Number 3, major subdivisions and required sketch plans. Number 4, expansions or modifications to non-residential or multifamily development that increase building area, required parking, or impervious surface area. Number 5, single-family or duplex dwellings containing 6 or more bedrooms or sleeping areas and any additions or modifications that increase a dwelling to that threshold. A sleeping area is any enclosed or semi-enclosed space within a dwelling unit that is designed or reasonably capable of functioning as a sleeping space based on its layout and physical characteristics at the time of plan review. A sleeping area includes bedrooms, or any room or space that provides privacy and separation from common living areas and could function as a sleeping space. Rooms labeled as offices, dens, bonus rooms, or similar shall be considered sleeping areas where the design includes features consistent with sleeping use, such as enclosure with walls and a door, or defined separation or layout and dimensions consistent with habitable space. The following are not considered sleeping areas: open common living spaces such as living rooms, dining rooms, kitchens, or great rooms that are not enclosed or separated in a manner that would support sleeping; hallways, foyers, or circulation areas; bathrooms, closets integrated into a bedroom, or utility rooms. An open floor area alone shall not be considered a sleeping area. And then 6, zoning map amendments and related actions, including annexations and zoning designations, pre-annexations, rezoning, and PDD amendments to confirm availability of service, access, and infrastructure. 7, changes in use of an existing structure or site that result in an increase in required parking, a change in access or circulation, or that may otherwise affect compliance with applicable development standards. Then Part B talks about the application process. Part C talks about the review process. Part D talks about TRC, and then Part E talks about approval. Specifically, when all review comments have been addressed and the proposed development is determined to comply with all applicable regulations, the site-specific development plan may be approved. Where site-specific development plan approval is required pursuant to this section, such approval shall be obtained prior to the issuance of a building permit. Projects reviewed by the TRC that are determined not to require formal site-specific development plan approval may proceed to permitting upon completion of TRC review and confirmation of compliance with applicable standards.
Take a breath.
Sorry, it's a lot to read. I just want,
Yeah, it's a lot.
I got my Coke.
So she needs her Coke. All right.
I think you did
Soda.
an amazing job from what we went through, what we were looking at this morning. Thank
Where
you.
we left it this morning is fantastic.
Not my concern. My question always is, why we separate bedroom and sleeping area if it's the sleeping area that we're trying to do that? Why do we mention the bedrooms and specifically put that by itself? Because if we're trying to maintain sleeping areas, then we consider bedroom sleeping areas. Why does that wording need to be next to the sleeping area?
Well, I think it's because some places do just list they've got 12 bedrooms, and some places will list, oh, we have 5 bedrooms, an office, a gym, a playroom, a theater, all of which have attached bathrooms and closets, kind of thing.
I'm good.
Or 4 bedrooms
Jim?
and 4 bedrooms, 4 bath, but sleeps 10.
Yeah.
You know,
we don't, I mean, this is just for site plan. This is to ensure that if this house, no matter what your intent when you build it, that it has adequate parking if somebody buys it and converts those smaller spaces into bedrooms.
When I was looking up stuff earlier, and I sent you a lot of stuff, but it was having the code attached to the plumbing, and that's a lot. So I think the way that you defined it is broad enough, but also encompasses what it's supposed to encompass. If it's you label it as an office and it's got a full bathroom in there, they don't have a closet per se yet, because that's what defines a bedroom, then you know that it's probably an office, full office with a full bathroom that could have a Murphy bed in there or something.
Yeah. I mean, we're just trying to protect the community for the
Yeah.
future. Yeah.
And just make sure we have enough parking.
Yeah.
Good parking.
Parking, that stormwater's handled, that it's all meeting the requirements. Yeah.
I think you put enough in it if you need to address it, you can address it.
Yeah.
But it's not so narrow that what we all anticipated being a reasonable plan is
Yeah,
reasonable.
I don't think it's perfect. I don't think we can ever achieve perfection here. But I think it's broad enough and narrow enough that we're not going to be sending everything to site plan, and we're not going to be losing things that need to go to site plan.
Just the Cherry Grove stuff.
So pretty much on this text amendment, everything's the exact same that it already was with the city. It's just being defined in very specific terms. And the sleeping area is the one thing that has changed from 5-bed to making sure that we know what the bedrooms are.
Yeah, so there was never a section in the site plan that said, this is what goes to site plan. Everybody in staff understands what goes to site plan, but it never listed anywhere.
An
So-
outside builder coming in and wondering, what am I supposed to send? They
Yeah.
don't know. So this defines it. Makes it
Yes.
easier for people to
submit.
understand what is required by the
Right.
city.
Right.
This is perfect.
And we're adding step by step what you're gonna.
Directions.
What's gonna be required.
Yeah.
To go to TRC. I
Yeah.
think that's.
That way we won't have to hear later that we're so complicated or hard to do business with because something's always changing. It'll be.
Less
laid out.
surprises for everyone.
less
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
And we don't, if it doesn't need to go to site plan, we will send it straight to permit. Yes.
Okay. Great. Good job on this. Really good job.
Great job. Difficult thing.
Yeah, I mean, this morning I was thinking this is going to be
Oh, it's gonna be a long.
tough to have this done by tonight and figure out what to,
you did a great
not so it's
job. You
this
did a
big,
great
not
job
this
doing that.
big, just right here.
Right, Goldilocks.
Okay.
Very good. Have any further discussion? Anyone from the public have anything to say about this submission? We have a person. Please state your name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Christy Hinton, and my address is 710 33rd Avenue South in North Myrtle Beach. And I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you all today, and I appreciate your comments that the items on this and probably the next two that are coming up are in order to protect the residents of North Myrtle Beach. I come here saying that I feel like I'm one of the few remaining residents in my neighborhood as my neighborhood hollows out to short-term rentals. I live in Windy Hill, and I want to speak in favor of limits on the number of bedrooms or sleeping spaces here in residential zoned areas. I really like how Charleston attempts to protect neighborhoods by limiting the number of unrelated people in a limited number of short-term rentals. And I realize that short-term rental is not within your purview, but because you cannot control, once a house is built, what its use is going to be, as somebody who is surrounded by short-term rentals, that's my continual fear. If we limit the number of bedrooms, then the number of unrelated people in a North Myrtle Beach unregulated short-term rental might drop, and thus the number of party houses might also stop rising. We do not enjoy tour buses dropping off 20 unrelated people in residential zoned areas. That's what happens in my neighborhood. We have school buses that drop off children at the house 2 doors down from me. Tour buses seem to imply commercial activity, and we do not need to encourage that with the number of unlimited bedrooms in residential areas. We have older homes that are being torn down, and these huge monstrosities are going up. So our single-story houses now are being peered down on by these monstrosities with their lights and their parties. Most of my neighbors have lived here their entire lives. They're retirees now. They have no ability to move. My neighbor just broke her hip and is learning how to walk again across the street from this party house. So again, I appreciate your efforts to codify this and protect the residents of North Myrtle Beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Any other members of the public wish to address this issue? No? Okay, how about the commissioners? Any further discussion by commissioners? Okay, nothing further. I will call for a vote, please.
I'm going to make a motion. I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the Land Development Regulations Text Amendment ZTX-26-1 as submitted.
Second.
I'm sorry, STX.
Did I say, what did I say?
See?
Oh,
Just
STX.
the records.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's getting so late, I'm dyslexic.
That's because you're wearing your glasses.
Got your glasses on. We all did.
We all did.
Okay. Last chance for discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the next item, 6G, this is zoning ordinance text amendment ZTX 26-2. This is a text amendment clarifying site-specific development plan requirements and applicability, but this kind of goes in the zoning ordinance. It adds section 23-146.1, site-specific development plan compliance, that simply states, where a site-specific development plan is required pursuant to Chapter 20 Land Development Regulations, such plan shall be reviewed and approved prior to the issuance of any building permit. It's just a kind of an anchor in the zoning that points people back to LDRs.
Any discussion by the commissioners, comments? Questions for the staff? Okay. Anyone from the public have anything to say about this request? No? Okay. I'll call for motion.
I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the zoning ordinance text amendment ZTX-26-2 as submitted.
Second.
Last chance for comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
ZTX somewhere.
Our land development regulations used to be known as our subdivision regulations. So they're all STXs and the zoning text is ZTXs, but LDRs got changed, or the subdivision got changed to LDR somewhere before my time. So that's where the nomenclature comes from. Okay. ZTX 26-3, this is a text amendment clarifying the definition of sleeping area. This relates to what we talked about, and I honestly think, based on the changes in the LDRs, I don't think we need to change the definition of sleeping area in the zoning as it relates to short-term rentals or anything. I think staff would recommend just withdrawal of this amendment.
Is that what you're doing?
If y'all allow it, yes.
This one puts more regulation on a closet or defining a closet. Is there
It's in there already.
Yeah.
As it relates to short-term rentals, I think it's fine to,
I think we would muddy the waters
yeah,
of what we just did.
yeah.
So
I
just
agree, we should leave it.
eliminate, pretend this
Olive
one.
made the motion, do you withdraw it? I mean, you've made the
Oh,
application.
yeah.
We have to make it.
We have-
I think the idea is after it's been discussed here with anybody else in the public, that we make a motion to,
With, yeah,
well, to,
We're not gonna change, we gotta deny it.
Yeah, I guess it's
Okay to
deny,
approve.
approve, or
Well,
postpone.
It would go to city council even if you recommended denial, but let's just, I don't know how it,
I think,
Chris,
yes, yeah.
yeah. Right. Right.
That would come from the board making the recommendation to do it, or
we would be making a motion to withdraw it.
To it. We would make,
You want me to make it up?
don't make
Mr.
it up.
Chairman, I move we withdraw this from the agenda. Item 6H,
at the request of staff,
request of staff.
would you amend your motion to that?
I amend my motion.
Okay,
We need
motion amended.
public comments on that?
You have a motion.
Withdrawing it,
There,
because it's not to be, if you're taking it off the table, there's no
Right.
discussion.
Nothing to discuss.
that's right.
But we do need a second.
I second
There you go.
Seconded.
Okay, we have first and a second. Any further discussion on this? All right, call for the vote. All those in favor of
Aye.
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it.
Same thing with 6I?
No.
No.
It gets to what the public comments we had just a little bit earlier. Although it probably, our recommendations for changes probably don't match what she was talking about. But so 6I is a zoning ordinance text amendment, ZTX 26.4 and 26.5, to remove the maximum area for a bedroom or sleeping area and to remove the maximum number of bedrooms or sleeping areas. And we originally put this in as two separate amendments because we thought, well, hey, in these districts, R1, R1B, R2, R2B, and R3, there is this text in every section that says a dwelling unit shall not contain more than 5 bedrooms or sleeping areas of not more than 300 square feet each. But then you have that definition of sleeping area that it gets into, I mean, even a closet over 70. And there are many bedrooms approved in our city for building that are bigger than 300 square feet. That's a pretty small bedroom. So we thought, hey, we can have one ordinance that removes the maximum area, and then one ordinance that also addresses the maximum number. But the more we talked about what should be the maximum number of sleeping areas or bedrooms allowed in a house, it gets kind of iffy on kind of constitutional issues. You may be limiting family size at that point if you say you can only have 5. If you have a 10-person family, and I think staff, we have better places in our ordinance to regulate how this is done in terms of our parking, the site-specific development plan, when we can put things that way. Those better address the intensity of use than our zoning ordinance. Because when somebody's house gets sold and it's used for, and they convert the patio, or not the patio, the porch, or all of those areas, that's not going to zoning. That's just a building permit. There's nobody who's making sure that it's parked adequately. But with new construction, we can deal with it on the front end with the site-specific development plan stuff. So we were recommending just to remove that statement, a dwelling unit shall not contain more than 5 bedrooms or sleeping areas of not more than 300 square feet each from each of the sections.
So essentially, let's say I have a home and it has 5 bedrooms currently. That's within the ordinance. in-laws have to come and live with us and we convert the sunroom into a bedroom for them, then we're in violation,
You've created a non-conforming.
a non-conforming home. This would eliminate that to where you could still handle those things, have a larger bedroom than 300 square feet throughout the city, but also have regulation if you have 6 sleep areas that it has to go to TRC so that there is regulation.
So we can make sure it's parked correctly and that stormwater's dealt with. So if you
Yeah.
have 5 bedrooms and you convert one room, you get a building permit for that. Oh, wait, this is 6 or more. Now you've got to go to TRC. Do you have enough parking? That kind of thing. Yeah. If you have 3 bedrooms and a kitchen and a living room and an office, you're going to be okay. You wouldn't need to go to TRC, but it's tricky, but it's the 300 square foot. I hate to. I don't think anybody's enforcing that maximum for bedroom size. I don't. Oftentimes, when you get a house plan, it doesn't say the square feet of each bedroom, and I don't think anybody's sitting back playing. This bedroom's too big. You can't have a master suite or primary suite that large.
I know mine from 1970s more than that.
Right. Same.
So
Oh.
really, it's a non-issue based off the size. It's the number that we're changing so that the city would have more ability to make sure there's enough parking, drainage, and make sure that it's not going to be a party house.
As much as we can regulate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's within the regular zoning requirements.
I think we've always kind of wrestled with that cap, 5 bedrooms. I mean, you can have a gorgeous R1 house and say, oh, you can't have that theater because you've already got 5 bedrooms. It's kind of weird. Yeah. We just don't like to be in that position. As long as it's parked accordingly. So if that theater ever turns into a bedroom, yeah.
So if you're having like I said, they're dropping off busloads of people for a party at a house. Do you have to have some kind of permit to do something like that? Or?
Well, I don't think we just kind of did the nuisance ordinance. There are some new elements of I think it's in chapter 12 for when streets are blocked, when sidewalks are blocked, when there's nuisance parties going on. So that comes under public safety's purview at that point.
Have any further discussion, questions? Anyone from the public have anything to say? Nope. I'd like to call for a motion then.
I move that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the zoning ordinance text amendment ZTX-26-4 and ZTX-26-5 as submitted.
Second.
First and second, last chance for discussion. Public? Okay, a call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
One,
Oh, do we need a public comment? I'm sorry. Sorry.
it's okay, yeah. We have anyone from the public like to submit some comments or discussion to the planning commission? No one there? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn. I'm hungry.
Any second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Are we all invited for dinner?
Cooking.
No, we found